And just like we drew it up, right, ladies and gentlemen? Sixers post-game live. Amy Fiddle, Jim Lynam, Mark Jackson, and gentlemen, I mean, you know what? We like a little drama. We got a lot of drama in that one. Sixers get the big Game 6 win. Jim, what are your takeaways from this one?
My first thought, that's a gutsy win, okay? You had your back to the wall on the road. You had a lot of guys step up, but I'm going to tell you, if I was going to go into the locker room, the first guy I'm going to hit with the champagne is the young fella, Tyrese Maxey. To me, he was the difference in this game. What
a game changer. Only played 1 minute in Game 5. Game 6, he was the difference maker, especially when they needed that big boost. And he came in off the benchmark and really just catapulted this team back into the lead.
Listen, Maxey was prepared for this moment. This young man stepped up flawlessly, stepped up to the moment, wasn't forward at all. He just wanted to play, and he gave the Sixers what they needed to get the W. Maxey came through big.
I mean, you had to have extra players step up. You needed guys that, you know, maybe you weren't going to count on. Tyrese Maxey, what a call by Doc Rivers. And then when you saw him getting hot, we talk about the feed the pig. Well, there you go, because they just kept feeding him and kept him involved. How big was that?
Yeah, I think you said it, Aim. The Sixers obviously were struggling offensively when he went into the game. And we always, you know, from when he first got his early opportunity this season, we loved his energy. But this was more than about energy. They were having trouble scoring. He gave them 2 baskets in that stretch. So it just, I thought they gained confidence as a result of the way he was playing, like his style of play, his aggressiveness, you know, like just throwing caution to the winds, and in the process, getting you some baskets.
Yeah, that loose style. It's
exactly.
Almost like, you know, he's never been in this situation, so he doesn't have time to get nervous or tight because he came and he rose to the moment. But his defense also was pretty good, too.
It was, and how about, we said, Aim, like the last stretch of the season, I'm going to say 15 games, he shot the 3 ball at 40%. He's a much, much improved three-point shooter, and you saw a couple of them tonight.
It was a huge win. Obviously, it was a must-win because when you're down 3-2, it is tied now 3-3. Coming back to Philly, Game 7, the best 2 words in all of sports. Who doesn't love that? That's going to be on Sunday night. Of course, we'll have pregame for you coming up on Sunday at 7 o'clock. But this was a gutsy win, as Jimmy just called it, Mark. When your team is in your season is on the line and your back's against the wall, what does that feel like that you have to kind of dig deep and pull out a game like this in front of a hostile environment?
It feels great because you're doing it in Atlanta, and let's be honest, the Sixers weren't playing great in the start of this game. They looked deflated. They looked like they kind of bowed out to start this game. And Atlanta was on their P's and Q's, hitting all their shots, and everything was working in their favor. And then Ben Simmons, Tobias foul trouble, they go out the game, bring some other guys in, still down. Then we started getting momentum, started turning the tide, and then it just went from there. And the best thing for us today, our bench came through for us and got the W because we, at one point, no Sixers starter had shot a foul shot. Think about that. We got the #1 free throw shooter in the NBA in Joel Embiid, and he went almost an entire game without shooting free throws.
7 minutes, 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter. That's when the first Sixer starter shot a free throw, and that was Joel Embiid, who obviously made his. The heart of this team was questioned after Game 5 and that epic collapse. Jimmy, anybody questioning the heart now?
No, I don't think so, Aim. And obviously, I think, you know, the fans had a right to be upset. You know, that was a brutal loss. But I think you have to give this team some credit for the resolve that they showed. You know, they spit the bit twice in a row. They had, what, 16 or 18-point lead in the previous game, 26 the last game. And to lose those 2 games, I mean, that's a hit to your confidence. But I would like to say this. Doc Rivers did say, looking into this camera, we'll be back in Philly on Sunday, playing at the Wells Fargo Center. The coach was right.
That was a guarantee. I mean, he didn't say I guarantee it, but it was implied, Mark Jackson.
Absolutely.
He had the confidence, and he had to do this, as you guys were pointing out, not a great start to this game for the Sixers. They really had to play catch-up. Of course, everybody on social media is like, this is good. You can't blow a lead if you don't have a lead. So, you know, jokes aside, they really had to go and find a lot. They had to find that heart and dig deep. When you're out there in a battle like this, does it help to see guys like Tyrese Maxey stepping up, Tobias Harris, who had an abysmal game last time out, stepping up? Does that help you with your overall confidence?
Absolutely. Guys struggle. They battle back the next game, and they're able to make the ship right from the previous game. And then you got a young fella in Maxey who is a young guy. And you see young guys stepping up and putting his foot in that pedal too and say, I got some gas for you too. And it just give you momentum as a group, as a whole, that different guys are stepping up and contributing. It's a good feeling.
So obviously Tyrese Maxey came in.
Good.
It feels good, especially after Wednesday night. Honestly, we had no idea what to expect. You know, I know you guys were out there with us, but you're seeing Ben Simmons come out of the game, not just in the guts of the game, but earlier. He got into foul trouble early. Maxey comes in, he starts playing well. You can't go back to Simmons because of this, the energy and what he gave you. 5 more minutes for Tyrese Maxey. I thought this kid was good. Obviously, I watched him quite a bit in his lone year at Kentucky. I thought he's a starter in the league, pretty much on any other team. But these numbers, you have to play him next game, right?
Oh, no, he's here to stay. Aim, you can take that to the bank. Aim, let me just throw one shout out. I'm going to tell you his game I really loved. He wasn't on top. This was not his best, okay? I loved Joel Embiid, what he gave you tonight. He whatever is bothering him, he doesn't have his normal shooting touch. My guess is it's his lift, you know, because if you have a bad knee and it's bothering you, you know, you don't get off the floor quite as readily. And he's a little reluctant to shoot that little 15-foot shot or the sweet spot jumper. And as a result, you know, he's got to put it on the floor and try and go at people. I thought he really gave you a tremendous effort in this game.
Let's head now to the ATL and check in with Doc Rivers after his team's victory.
Hey, Doc, can you just talk us through your decision-making process over the last 24 hours, specifically with regards to Tyrese, and just kind of what did you see and what did you talk through with your coaches, and why did you go with what you went with tonight?
You know, I've been saying it for 2 games. Like, you know, the first 2 games I thought he struggled. They game planned him. He's young. You can tell he didn't know what to do. They were taking him away from the basket. We showed him a bunch of film. I talked to him this morning. I told him you're going to be alive because I said you're going to be the first guy off the bench tonight. We were going to go with a different lineup, but then the fouls got killed us actually early on. And we also told him down the stretch of the game, we're going to need him on the floor with Ben because we needed a ball handler. You know, if Ben brings it up, they would foul even under 2 because he would have the ball. So by putting it in Tyrese's hand and making Ben a picker, it allowed Ben to stay on the floor and allowed us to still run our offense. So it worked out for us.
Obviously we don't see him behind the scenes. When we talk to him, he's very, you know, upbeat and confident. What did you see when you told him that, and what was his reaction?
He's ready. Tyrese is ready. You know, the whole thing with Tyrese, and he did a phenomenal job. I actually thought, you know, other than Ben, Tyrese did the best job on Trey because of his speed. And that was one of the things we talked about. You know, the kid, I keep talking about him. He has struggled in a lot of ways defensively this year. But he keeps working. He keeps watching film with Sam. And I thought tonight was probably, I know everyone's going to give him a shine about the offense, but I thought this was the single best defensive night of the season for him. Just really proud of him.
Hi, Carlin. Hey, Coach. What did you make of Seth's night? Just really kind of seemed like in the first half, he was huge for you guys, just in terms of, you know, keeping you guys afloat a little bit, him and Tobias, really. Yeah,
I tell you, we had Joel with fouls and tired, Ben in foul trouble. When Tobias got the 2 early fouls, and in some ways, it may have helped because then he came back in and he was really fresh. We were struggling to get points, and I thought Tobias and Seth kept us afloat. I thought George Hill, you know, tonight, like defensively and all the little things he did tonight, I thought was terrific as well.
And then was there anything you kind of said to the team at halftime? Because it kind of seemed like there was more offensive flow. It just seemed a little bit in the second half compared to what it was to start the game.
I just thought that we blew a bunch of fast breaks after misses. Now, the difference was, if you remember, Ben was off the floor because he was in foul trouble. And Ben is usually the guy that leads that break. And we talked about it at halftime. Guys, if we get stops and if we can get the ball to Ben early and we run the floor, we can get a bunch of threes up or layups. And that's exactly what happened. So that was good.
Thanks, Coach.
John Clark.
Hey, Doc, sorry about that. After the game, we saw your moment there with Joel Embiid, and I think that may have been one of your most expressive moments there. What did you tell Joel in that moment?
I told him we'd win. And I just said, I told you. That was it. I just kept saying that because, these guys are young, man. They need to believe that. And, I didn't know if they did or didn't. I thought they did. You can tell in the way they played. But we have another game. And so it was more about getting his head ready for the next game. And that's what I talked about. I said, hey, I told you, but we're not done, and we're not.
And how huge was that coming out of the locker room to start the half, a 12-0 run?
It was huge.
Seth and Joel with the threes.
It was huge, threes from everyone, defensive stops. And then listen, this Atlanta team, they just shoot the ball so darn well. They're never out of a game. They're just not. There's no lead safe with them. They're shooting, and not to the level of Golden State, but they remind you of that. Like, there's just too many guys that can shoot on their team. And the three ball is the reason teams come back, and they're set for that. So no lead is safe with this team.
Dave McMenamin.
Doc, the way games 4 and 5 went, where you guys had the double-digit lead, the Hawks made the comeback. What did it say about your guys' character tonight to fall down 12 early and keep fighting?
Yeah, they just hung in there. And you're right. Like, you lose 2 leads. The lead the other night was just such a tough loss. And for them to jump on us, which honestly I anticipated, you knew they were going to come out sky high. And I just really believed that we could weather the storm. A lot of energy would be spent. And I thought from that point on, we controlled the game.
All right, we have time for 2 more. We'll start with Lauren Rosen.
Hey, Doc, I think that those of us that have been around Tobias for a while, or like you in the past, weren't necessarily surprised to see him bounce back the way that he did tonight between Game 5 and Game 6. But even if you're not surprised, can you speak a little on the significance of him bouncing back with this?
I'm not surprised. We really showed him a lot of film on the ways to go at guys, quick decision. I thought the last 2 games, he'd gotten back into that old, sluggish, hold the ball. Tonight, it was quick. It was attacks, it was downhill. That's who he is. And when he gets to that, and I keep telling him Bernard King. I don't know how many more times I can use that name to him because that's who he plays like, and that's who we want him to be.
Final question, we'll go to Paul Hudrick.
Hey, Doc, I know you just said that you like the idea of Tyrese and Ben playing together to use Ben as a screener, but did you think that playing Tyrese for that extended stretch with Joel and Seth maybe gave him, some more lanes for drives and maybe allowed him to use his speed a little bit?
Oh, no doubt. We knew that. We were going to put him in for Ben anyway, though we did it earlier than we wanted to with the fouls, obviously. And then we wanted to put as much shooting on the floor. That's why Maxey didn't play a lot. Matisse didn't play a lot tonight because we needed space. We just wanted to create space for either Tyrese to go downhill or they help and we throw it back and we get threes. So it worked out pretty well.
Thanks, Tom.